Hi, this is Kevin Gong, and in this video, I'm going to show how to checkmate with king and queen versus king and bishop. So I'm going to assume that you already know how to checkmate with king and queen versus king. If you don't, then you should go ahead and learn that first. You can check out the video I made earlier about king and queen versus king, or find another resource on the web to learn that. So, assuming you do know how to checkmate king and queen versus king, checkmating with king and queen versus king and bishop is not much more difficult. So if you do find yourself on the losing end of this position where you just have the king and bishop, then one thing you should try to do is, of course, try to keep your king toward the center of the board and keep your bishop near your king. If you do get separated, then it's going to be very easy for the side of the queen to win. So, for example, in this position, the king and the bishop are separated, and white can simply fork the king and bishop like this, and black moves away, and you take the bishop, and from there, it's pretty easy. So, if you do find that the king and bishop are separated, if you got the queen, then you should look for a way to fork. You may not be able to fork on the very next move, but it may take you 2 or 3 moves, and hopefully you'll be able to fork them. So let's look at another way that white can win pretty easily. If you can attack the bishop with both your king and your queen, then you'll be able to take it as well. So in this position, there's a very straightforward move that white can make to capture the bishop. So one thing you might look at is playing queen h7, because you think, oh, well, the black king can't move up here or here, it has to move to the 8th rank, and then you can take the bishop. But if you do queen h7, then black can just block with the bishop. So that's not going to win the bishop. So what you can do, however, is play queen d6, and then after black moves, then you have 2 pieces attacking the bishop, and you can just take it, and from there it's pretty easy. So those are a couple of things to watch for as you're attempting to checkmate. Now let's look near the end. So here you've got the black king trapped on the edge of the board, and all you have to do is bring your king close in, and black really can't do anything to stop you. So notice the bishop is protecting the e7 square, but you're still going to be able to checkmate. So say the bishop moves away, then you just go check at d7, king moves over, and then checkmate at f7. So even with the bishop still on the board, you can still checkmate the black king. Alright, so let's try to put this all together. Let's start from this position. So I like to tell my students to basically just almost pretend that the bishop isn't even there. So you know how to checkmate with king and queen. You basically just drive the opposing king onto the edge, and then probably into the corner if you need to. So you just do that. Now, one thing that you should probably try to do is keep your pieces on the opposite color of the bishop. That way the bishop can't attack you, and so it'll just make it easier. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind. So let's just start. So there's lots of different ways to do this, but I like to just, in this position, I would just go queen a4, cutting off the black king from half of the board. Okay, so you're basically going to drive them up to the 8th rank. Okay, and then you can start bringing your king up. Okay. All right, and black is trying to keep the bishop close to the king, so it doesn't get too far away. So here you can, you could either move your king up, or you can move your queen up to, restrict the king. So in this case, I just decided to move the queen up. And notice that both of my pieces are on dark squares and the bishop is on light square, so it's not going to bother me. Okay. So again, this is a case where I could move the king up or the queen over. In this case, I just move the king over. Okay. So we're making good progress. Again, we can move the king here or here, or move the queen over here. Okay, so move king here. All right. Now, one thing that the bishop can do, even though it's not on the same color as our pieces, it can block. So you want to watch for that to make sure that the king doesn't escape by going around the bishop. So in this case, I just go queen e5, check, and trapping the king into this box here. Okay, and then again, moving down there, making the box smaller. It's restricted to these 8 squares now. Okay, got to move the king in closer now. Okay, so black could move over here to h6, trying to get out of the box. But on the other hand, if it does that, it'll be trapped on the edge of the board. So black decided to just move the bishop over. Okay, and now I can trap it in an even smaller box. So at this point, we need to get the king in closer. So we could move king f4, king g5, but I decided to come around the other way. King d6, planning to move to e7 on the next move. And black doesn't really have anything to do here. He just moves the bishop out of the way, and then I bring in the king to e7, and now I'm threatening to move queen g6 and then move the king in for the kill. And so black is just kind of moving back and forth, just waiting for the inevitable. Queen g6, king h8, king f6, and now there's no way for black to stop checkmate on the next move. Okay, and checkmate. So I hope that didn't seem too difficult. You can practice this either on the computer or with a friend. It's pretty easy. Checkmating with king and queen versus king and knight is actually quite a bit more difficult, and king and queen versus king and rook is even much more difficult. And I'll probably be covering those in future videos. But for now, I hope this taught you how to do king and queen versus king and bishop. Thanks for watching.